Hello and welcome back to the Rwandan Vigilante, where we expose what others hide and speak the truth that many fear. Today, we dive deep into the rearrest of Madame Victoire Ingabire Umuhoza, and why this is not just another case of political repression. This is a signal, a warning, a calculated move in a larger geopolitical game. Because this, my friends, is not a coincidence. It is a timed diplomatic maneuver by the Kagame regime, carried out just as international pressure mounts and Rwanda's image as the darling of Western donors begins to crack. And if you're new here, this channel exists to uncover the political games behind the headlines, especially in Rwanda and across the Great Lakes region. Subscribe, share, and turn on notifications, because what's happening right now might determine the future of Rwanda's democracy and the credibility of Western foreign policy in Africa. Let's begin with the basics. Madame Victoire Ingabire Umuhoza is not a new name in Rwanda's political space. But to understand the weight of her rearrest, you need to understand her journey, and what she represents. In 2010, after years in exile in the Netherlands, Ingabire made a bold decision. She returned to Rwanda, determined to challenge Paul Kagame in the presidential election. But her return wasn't met with ballots, it was met with handcuffs. She was arrested, charged with genocide ideology and divisionism, vague catch-all laws Rwanda uses to criminalize dissent, and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Human rights organizations condemned the trial as politically motivated. The African Court on Human and People's Rights, one of the continent's most respected legal bodies, ruled in 2017 that her trial violated due process and was riddled with bias. It was a major blow to Kagame's image, not from Western NGOs but from Africa's own institutions. So what did Kagame do? He used the classic authoritarian playbook, pretend to show mercy. In 2018 he granted her a presidential pardon, not as a recognition of wrongdoing but as a calculated PR move, a way to appear benevolent while maintaining tight control. She was released after serving 8 years, but never truly free. Her political party, Dalfa Umurinzi, remains unregistered. Her public appearances are tightly monitored, her movements restricted. And now in June 2025, she is behind bars again. This time the charges are different, not genocide denial, not divisionism. Now they accuse her of forming a criminal organization and inciting public disorder. A recycled script, new charges, same motive, silence the opposition. Her lawyer put it bluntly, this is a continuation of a long campaign of intimidation and political harassment. Human Rights Watch didn't mince words either. The Rwandan authorities are sending a clear message. If you dare to challenge the status quo, if you dare to seek political office outside the ruling party, you risk imprisonment. But what makes this moment especially critical is the timing. Her arrest comes just days after the signing of a US-brokered peace agreement regarding the ongoing crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo, an agreement that mandates Rwanda to pull out its troops from eastern Congo within 90 days. Let's be clear, Rwanda's involvement in the DRC is no secret. For years, the Kagame regime supported the M23 rebel group, covertly funneling arms, intelligence, and political support, all while denying any role. That lie has collapsed. Satellite images, UN reports, and eyewitness testimonies have laid bare Rwanda's footprint in the conflict. And now, under diplomatic pressure, Kigali is being forced to step back. At the same time, the Qatar-led negotiations between M23 and the Congolese government have stalled. The United States and United Kingdom, Rwanda's traditional backers, are growing impatient. This is the context into which Victoire Ingabire's arrest is dropped. Not randomly, not impulsively, but strategically. The Kagame regime understands how the international game is played. It knows that political prisoners are not just liabilities, they're assets. In 2024, Ingabire was awarded the Liberal International Prize for Freedom, a global recognition of her courage and her role in defending human rights. She has international name recognition, she has global political support, and she has leverage. So what does the regime do? It locks her up, at the very moment when it needs bargaining chips. Kagame is playing chess, not checkers. By arresting Ingabire at this particular moment, he creates a potential negotiation token, someone he can generously release later in exchange for sanctions relief, diplomatic favor, or a softened stance in the Congo peace talks. We've seen this tactic before. Kagame did it with Paul Rusesabagina, the man portrayed in Hotel Rwanda. After abducting him from Dubai in 2020 and sentencing him to 25 years, He was quietly released in 2023 under US pressure, not because Kagame had a change of heart, but because it suited the regime's diplomatic needs. And now the same blueprint is being used again with Madame Ingabire. The difference is that the stakes are higher this time. Because Rwanda's diplomatic armor is wearing thin, the Western media narrative is shifting. Publications that once praised Kagame as a visionary leader, The Economist, Reuters, NBC, The Times, are now publishing investigations into torture, surveillance, and regional destabilization. Western diplomats, once eager to shake hands in Kigali, are now asking harder questions. And Victoire Ingabire's arrest adds fuel to that fire. So, where does this go from here? There are three key signs to watch closely. First, the timeline of her detention. If she's released within the Congo withdrawal window or soon after progress in Qatar, it'll be obvious she was part of the negotiation toolkit. Second, the tone of Western embassies. Do they issue real demands for her release? Or do they fall back on the usual phrases, monitoring the situation, expressing concern, engaging with stakeholders? Third, what Kagame demands in return. Because let's be clear, this arrest is not domestic law enforcement, it's a diplomatic maneuver. He wants something, and that brings us to the heart of the matter. This isn't just about one woman, it's about the normalization of authoritarian diplomacy, where regimes arrest high-profile figures not to silence them permanently, but to leverage them later. If this strategy works, if Rwanda gets what it wants without consequences, it sets a dangerous precedent for the entire region. It tells other strongmen, you can criminalize dissent, jail your rivals, and still get invited to international summits. As long as you know when to pardon someone for political gain. But if the international community says enough, if they refuse to negotiate until Ingabire is released, unconditionally and immediately, then a different message is sent. A message that democracy is not optional, that human rights are not bargaining chips, that political opposition is not a crime. So what can you do? Keep her name alive, talk about Victoire Ingabire, share this video, post on Twitter, tag journalists, pressure rights organizations. This battle isn't just being fought in courtrooms or at summits, it's being fought in the arena of public awareness. If we stay silent, they win. But if we raise our voices, if we refuse to let this story fade, we can force the world to pay attention. Because truth is not treason. And silence is not neutrality. This is the Rwandan Vigilante. Stay awake, stay loud, and stay dangerous.